What I am about to tell you could save your spiritual life. If you're one of those people who stays awake at 300 a.m., whether by choice or circumstance, there is something you absolutely must never do during the sacred hour, or you risk permanently closing your third eye and severing your connection to higher consciousness forever. This is not a metaphor. This is not spiritual poetry. This is a warning based on ancient wisdom that has been carefully guarded for thousands of years. For more than 3 decades, I have witnessed the devastating consequences when people unknowingly violate the sacred laws of the 300 a.m. hour. I have seen individuals who are naturally gifted with psychic abilities suddenly lose all their spiritual sensitivity overnight. I have worked with seekers who are making profound progress on their spiritual journey only to find themselves completely cut off from their inner guidance after making one critical mistake during the witching hour. The hour between 300 a.m. and 400 a.m. is known across all mystical traditions as the most spiritually potent time of the entire day. The Vedic scriptures call it Brahma Muhurta, the time of divine consciousness. The Christian mystics knew it as the hour of deepest prayer. The Sufi masters considered it the moment when the veil between worlds is thinnest. But what most people do not realize is that this same power that can elevate your consciousness to extraordinary heights can also destroy it completely if misused. Before we continue, if this message is resonating with you, show your support by clicking the like button right now. If you want more wisdom like this coming to you regularly, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, a friend, family member or loved one who is going through spiritual difficulties, share this video with them. Sometimes a single message can change the course of an entire life. See, at 300 a.m., your pineal gland, which is the physical seat of your third eye, reaches its peak production of DMT, the molecule that mystics call the spirit molecule. Your brainwave patterns shift into the deepest theta states. The same frequencies experienced during profound meditation and mystical experiences. Your electromagnetic field becomes incredibly receptive like a radio antenna, perfectly tuned to receive cosmic transmissions. This is why so many people report having their most vivid dreams, prophetic visions, and spiritual insights during this time. But here is what the ancient masters knew that modern people have forgotten. With great spiritual power comes great spiritual vulnerability. At 300 a.m., your psychic defenses are at their lowest. Your aura is wide open. Your consciousness is in a state of heightened receptivity that makes you incredibly sensitive to all forms of energy, both positive and negative. This is why the hour has been called the witching hour, not because of superstition, but because of spiritual reality. The one thing you must never ever do at 300 a.m. is engage in any form of negative thinking, emotional drama, or spiritual practice with impure intentions. During this sacred hour, whatever you focus your mind on becomes magnified 1,000-fold. If you allow yourself to spiral into worry, fear, anger, or depression at 300 a.m., you are literally programming these negative states into your subconscious mind at the deepest possible level. But the most dangerous thing of all is attempting to use for spiritual practices for selfish or harmful purposes during this time. I have seen people try to do manifestation work at 300 a.m. with the intention of manipulating others, seeking revenge or gaining material advantage through spiritual means. What they do not understand is that the universe has built-in protection mechanisms. When you try to use the sacred hour for impure purposes, the spiritual backlash is immediate and devastating. Let me tell you about a young man who came to me several years ago. He was naturally gifted with extraordinary psychic abilities. He could read people's thoughts, predict future events, and even communicate with spirits. But he became obsessed with using these abilities to gain power and control over others. Every night at 300 a.m., he would perform elaborate rituals designed to manipulate people's minds and bend them to his will. For a while it seemed to work. People around him became strangely compliant with his wishes. But then something terrible happened. One night, as he was performing his usual 300 a.m. ritual, he suddenly felt something snap inside his head. It was as if a door had been slammed shut and locked forever. From that moment on, he could no longer access any of his psychic abilities. His third eye had closed permanently. When he came to me, he was desperate. He had tried everything to restore his abilities, but nothing worked. I explained to him that he had violated the sacred laws of the 300 a.m. hour, and the universe had protected itself by severing his connection to higher consciousness. The damage was irreversible. His spiritual arrogance had cost him everything. This is why the ancient masters were so careful about what they did during the sacred hours. They understood that 300 a.m. is not just another time of a day, it is a cosmic gateway, a portal between dimensions, a moment when the laws of physics become more flexible and the boundaries between the seen and unseen worlds dissolve. To misuse this time is to invite spiritual catastrophe. But it is not just intentional misuse that can cause problems. Even unconscious negative patterns can be amplified during the 300 a.m. hour. If you are the type of person who tends to worry or overthink and you find yourself awake at 300 a.m. spinning in circles of anxiety, you are literally carving these negative patterns deeper into your psyche with each passing minute. The electromagnetic field of the earth itself shifts during the 300 a.m. hour. The planet's natural frequency, known as the Schumann resonance, reaches its lowest point, creating a unique window of opportunity for consciousness to expand beyond its normal limitations. But this same window can become a trap if you are not spiritually prepared to handle the intensified energies. Many people report experiencing what they call the 300 a.m. spiritual awakening, where they suddenly wake up at exactly 300 a.m., feeling completely alert and spiritually activated. This is not insomnia, this is your soul calling you to participate in the cosmic dance of consciousness that occurs during the sacred hour. But if you respond to this calling with fear, resistance, or negative thinking, you can actually damage your spiritual development. The key to protecting yourself during the 300 a.m. hour is to understand that whatever you choose to focus on during this time will be amplified and integrated into your consciousness at the deepest level. If you find yourself awake at 300 a.m., you have two choices. Either go back to sleep or engage in the highest form of spiritual practice you are capable of. If you choose to stay awake, this is the perfect time for meditation, prayer, gratitude practice, or simply sitting in silent awareness. The spiritual insights you receive during this hour will be more profound and lasting than those you might receive at any other time. Many of the world's greatest spiritual breakthroughs have occurred during the 300 a.m. hour. But you must approach this time with the proper reverence and preparation. Before engaging in any spiritual practice at 300 a.m., you must first purify your intentions. Ask yourself, am I doing this for the highest good of all beings, or am I seeking personal gain? Am I approaching this sacred time with humility and respect, or am I trying to force outcomes through spiritual manipulation? The ancient texts speak of spiritual guardians who watch over the 300 a.m. hour, protecting it from those who would misuse its power. These guardians can instantly sense your true intentions, and they will either grant you access to higher consciousness or shut you out completely depending on the purity of your heart. If you have been unknowingly misusing the 300 AM hour, there is still hope for redemption, but you must act quickly. The first step is to acknowledge your mistakes and sincerely repent for any harm you may have caused. The second step is to spend the next 21 consecutive nights at 300 AM in pure spiritual practice, dedicating your sessions to the highest good of all beings. During these 21 nights, you must avoid all forms of negative thinking, emotional drama, and selfish desires. Instead, focus on gratitude, compassion, and service to others. This is not easy, but it is the only way to repair the damage and restore your connection to higher consciousness. Remember the 300 AM. Hour is not something to be feared, but something to be respected. It is one of the most powerful tools available for spiritual development. But like any powerful tool, it must be used with wisdom and care. When you approach this sacred time with the proper attitude and preparation, it can become a gateway to extraordinary spiritual experiences and profound inner transformation. Your third eye is not just a metaphor. It is a real spiritual organ that can be developed and strengthened through proper practice or damaged and closed through ignorance and misuse. The choice is yours, but once you make it, the consequences are permanent.